Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kosi. Chelsea fans, you are out of luck. Now, Todd Boehly has taken the decision. Graham Potter is to stay as Chelsea manager, and they will emulate what Arsenal have done. They will trust the process. Graham Potter will not be sacked this season, even next season. Now, you have to remember that Arsenal finished in 8th twice with Mikel Arteta before we could try to finish 5th and then try to win the Premier League this season. Chelsea fans, I need your thoughts, I need your opinions, I need your reactions, and of course, rival fans, this is a massive opportunity for any club to be above Chelsea at the moment. They're not going to sack Graham Potter. I think that's a very, very good move, a genius move by Todd Boehly. But the big question for me with all this is, when does he turn it around? When does he turn things around? I think that's what Chelsea fans are asking for. They're not saying sack the manager because we don't like him. They're saying it is not going on very well. It is 2 wins in 14 games. It is 1 goal in our last 4-5 appearances. How do we turn things around? But we're going to be diving into that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Your thoughts in the comment box, as well. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about the decision that has been taken by Todd Boehly. Of course, we know that he loves to keep managers for a very long time, even with his other clubs and businesses. He loves to keep managers for a very long time. And when he was bringing in Graham Potter, he brought him on a contract that makes him actually the 5th highest paid manager in world football. That is actually a huge contract. And that contract is a 5-year deal. So when they brought in Graham Potter, I suppose the idea was, we will back you, we'll stand by you, and whatever happens at this Chelsea side, do not worry. We are going to be behind your back. Chelsea fans, of course, loved the idea at first of having a Mikel Arteta, of having a Pep Guardiola, of having an Erik ten Hag, but they didn't see prior what were the consequences of having such a manager. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm going to tell you right away, we were frustrated with Mikel Arteta for the first 2 seasons. Actually, 3 seasons. We're absolutely very, very frustrated. First, we finished in 8th. I think that was kind of a jump or a kickstart because we won the FA Cup during his first season, half season. His first full season was an absolute calamity, an absolute disaster. We finished 8th and it wasn't good enough. Now, those are 2 seasons, Arsenal finishing in 8th. Last campaign, which would have been his second full campaign as manager, he bottled the top 4, right? And we were fuming and we were absolutely left in disarray, but there was progress. There was absolute progress. So I think Chelsea fans, one thing you have to know is, or they have brought in players for £500 million, the progress is not going to come that early. It's not going to go, we brought in players, so we must win games. It's not going to be that way. The manager has to look at those players. He has to get his own blueprint onto the team. He has to create the culture that he wants at the team, and so many more things. But this is what I think Graham Potter should do. Now that he's been given the advantage, there is no more pressure on him. He can now guarantee that he's going to be at Chelsea for a very, very long period of time. This is what I think he should do. Number one, and I think this, all we're going to talk about here, leads to one thing. Can you get the fans back on your side? Can he win the fan base back? Because when you lose the fans, it becomes disastrous. It absolutely becomes ugly. And Mikel Arteta, with whatever he did, he didn't lose the fans. And one of the things I loved about him, it was his press conferences, because he kept on saying, this is not where we want to be. This is where, we are. We accept the decision, but this is not where we want to be. We want to be a much better side. We want to be in the UEFA Champions League. That's where we deserve to be. We're a very, very big team. And you could see that his speeches could resonate with the team. I'm not saying Graham Potter should change the way he talks or change his personality or everything. And I'm not one of those scumbags that are going to go, oh, Graham Potter doesn't have a lot of power in his speech. He should be sacked for that. I think every manager, every person has their own personality, and they should be respected. But what I think Potter should do is try to win the fan base back. Try to get the fans behind your back. I don't know how he's going to do this, because many of them doing TikToks, many of them doing YouTube, and that is only the small representation of what is out there. Few he is not the right man for the job. They feel he's not going to take their club around, in front or up front, or into any development stage, and they feel this is the time for him to leave. So, look, this is going to be the hardest period for him as a manager. But if he gets this right, if he turns things around at this point in time, I kind of feel Chelsea fans are going to be really, really happy. So how does he get the fan base back? How does he turn things around? First and foremost, for me, he's got to drop Kai Havertz, and that is purely from an objective point of view. I'm an Arsenal fan. Of course, everybody knows this. If you're watching this podcast, you know I'm a big Arsenal fan. But I watch Chelsea, and I watch them closely, objectively, because I have a show on the 90 More podcast that I have to do, cover them and give them an analysis of what happened in their games. Kai Havertz is a problem for Chelsea, and not because he's a bad player. And I think many Chelsea fans will go, well, he's even one of our best players. True, he is one of your best players. But you've got to drop him from that number 9 role. Most of the chances Chelsea are creating this season are falling onto Kai Havertz. And guess what? He's definitely not taking them. An XG of 5.9 this season. And he's only putting, I think he's only scored 4 goals for them this campaign. It's absolutely not good enough. Get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang into the team. You look, if you have a number 9, if you have a striker, and you're looking for goals, you're just going to get yourself sacked if you leave him on the bench, and then you go 10 games without a goal, right? The fans are never going to back you. There is no way you will explain to management that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is on the bench, your best striker, your best chance to get a goal, is on the bench, and you've not scored a goal in 10 games, right? They're massively creating chances. They have a very, very good XG of 7.9 in recent games, and they have scored 1 goal. That is unacceptable. Like, even Gabriel Jesus, the master of underscoring XG in the Premier League, doesn't have that. Like, you cannot have you're expected to score 8 goals, because 7.9, round off, that's 8 goals you're expected to score, and you've scored only 1. It's clearly not good enough. So for me, Kai Havertz, you either drop him out of the starting lineup, or play him on the right-hand side, play him as a number 10, or play him as a left winger. The good thing is that he's so talented. I think he brings a lot of energy to this Chelsea side. I think he's not playing very, very poorly, like many people will tell you, but can, just change position. Maybe play Joao Felix in that false 9 role and see. Maybe you could play Mikhail Modric in that number 9 role and see. Can he just try to change things up, in my opinion? But Kai Havertz, he's massively underscoring the chances he's getting, and that is quickly bringing a lot of anger into the fan base. Now, number 2, and this is a very, very big thing for any manager, he's got to find a starting 11 as quickly as possible. Look, staying in the job doesn't mean you lose the fan base. Staying in the job doesn't mean you have the warranty and guarantee to lose games and all this, right? So he's got to find a starting 11 that he can trust. Players, he must find 11 players that he can say, these can play for me the next 5 games, 90 minutes each. I think that is what he's supposed to do. Look at Mikel Arteta this season. How many players have played almost every single game in his starting lineup? Even last campaign, it's the same. It's the same scenario. Aaron Ramsdale plays every game. Ben White plays every game. Gabriel Magalhaes plays every game. William Saliba plays every game. Alexander Zinchenko, when fit, plays every game. Xhaka plays every game. Odegaard every game. Partey, when fit, plays every game. Martinelli plays every game. Saka plays every game. And Gabriel Jesus or Edin Ketia. They're 2 center forwards. We don't have so many options. They play every game, depending on who's available. So you've got to find that best 11 at the moment. I don't think Chelsea have that. I don't think Graham Potter has done that. If you look back at Brighton, I don't remember Bissouma being out of the starting lineup just because it's a gamble. Bissouma played every game. Enoch Mwepu played every game. McAllister played every game. Trossard played every game. Danny Welbeck played every game. And that is what you have to do at Chelsea. It's simply looking at this team and finding 11 players that you can trust. It doesn't matter if they're the most gifted. It doesn't matter if they're the best players at the team. Can you trust them? Are they on your side? Are they going to play for you? If you can do that, I think he can start picking up results. For me, look, you look at that back line, it is absolutely doing very well. And the fact that he's dropped Benoit Badiashile from the Champions League squad, are you mad? Are you absolutely mad? How have you dropped Benoit Badiashile from the UEFA Champions League squad? He's your best player right now in Chelsea colours. And he's dropped him from the UEFA Champions League. This guy's not serious. He's absolutely not serious, right? But in the look, this is Chelsea's best 11 at the moment. Kepa in goal. He's done a very brilliant job because Chelsea are not even conceding goals. Of course, Thiago Silva, best centre-back in the world. Benoit Badiashile, the best young player for me right now in the Premier League. Best signing of January, his name. Drop Cucurella and play Chilwell. It's a no-brainer. Cucurella is a mess. Rhys James at right back, he's got no problems. Then in midfield, Enzo Fernandez can play, but then we understand that you need to find a more defensive player that allows Enzo Fernandez to go up front, right? I think Loftus-Cheek is good, but Gallagher has been good whenever he's brought on. He's been good, and he has proven whenever he's been given the chance. So Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, and then Kai Havertz in the number 10, right? Then on the left, you could play Raheem Sterling. On the right, I don't think Hakim Ziyech is the guy for you, lads. Maybe Noni Madueke, because I feel like Noni Madueke has played better than Mikhail Modric. So Noni Madueke on the right, on the right. On the left, Raheem Sterling, he's going to produce the magic. Play him there. He will produce the magic. He will score the goals. And then down through the middle is Joao Felix. That is Chelsea's best 11. Stop the tinkering of Mikhail Modric. Stop the tinkering of all these lads. Mikhail Modric has a 9-year or 7-year deal at Chelsea. He has 6 years and a half to play football. Right now, you're looking for survival. Right now, you're looking to build something the fans can go, okay, we see what he's doing. We're going to back him. But if you cannot find a best 11 for me, if you cannot find 11 players out of 30 players you have at the team, you are definitely not the right manager. You're definitely, and Chelsea fans up to about now, they are right. And I think the other thing he's got to do is demand more from the players. I'm not saying shout at them. I'm not saying, back at them in press conferences or back in press conferences like all these wallets in, at Talksport are saying. What I'm trying to say here is, can you then just go, guys, it's not enough. It's not good enough, okay? Right? I mean, I agree with managers taking full responsibility because you pick the team and you give the instructions, right? And you can see that Chelsea are literally doing so many things right, including creating a lot of chances. We've already talked about their XG in their recent 3-4 games, which is about 7.9. So they're already having goal-scoring opportunities, right? But not finishing them doesn't win you a football game. It doesn't, right? If you remember the Arsene Wenger era, Arsene fans, you'll back me. We were creating so many chances, and Olivier Giroud was brought in to miss chances. That was his job. He's gone on to win the Champions League for Chelsea, gone on to win the Europa League, gone on to win the Scudetto for AC Milan. But for Arsenal, it was all about missing chances. That was the trophy he was brought to win for us. Scumbag, right? But listen, he's got to demand more from these players. He's got now to, show that other face, like, guys, it's not good enough, right? Talk to these players and tell them, look, if you are not going to do it for me, I'm going to drop you. Right? I got no options. My hands are tied. The fan base is stunning. There's so many people were saying that the dressing room is against him and all that. I don't think the dressing room is against him. I don't think these players are actually against him. I think what we are seeing is the Mikel Arteta situation. Okay, we are looking at a scenario where a manager is just fidgeting to get a working pattern. He's just fidgeting to get a working formula. It's not that the players are against him. You can see the amount of chances they're creating. You can see when Chelsea are in possession, there is something. I just want to believe, and I do believe, Chelsea, can do better. It's as simple as that. Chelsea can definitely do better under Graham Potter. So this is a genius move from Todd Boehly. I love it, but it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. Chelsea's season right now is still, solvable, in my opinion. You beat Dortmund 2-0, you progress, and then win 5 fixtures in the Premier League, get to those 40 points. You could finish in the top 7, right? A top 7 finish for Chelsea right now, and a quarter-final finish or a semi-final finish in the UEFA Champions League. That is the season, saved. So the season is still solvable, but Graham Potter has to change things quickly, right about now. If it needs him playing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, do that. If it needs you playing a different system that the players are well suited to, and then you change things in preseason, do that. Otherwise, Chelsea fans, I would love to get your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about Graham Potter staying, and what do you think about trusting the process, just like Arsenal and Mikel Arteta? It eventually pays off, but it's a painful gamble. It's a really, really painful gamble. And it's a painful gamble for Chelsea because if it ever doesn't work out, it's going to be costly. His contract alone is around 15 million to pay it off. Around 15 million. If you sack him, 15 million. But then you think about all the players you've signed for a project that he's drawn on paper and submitted. If Zinedine Zidane came in at Chelsea and he went, okay, right, I want Valverde from Madrid, I want Gavi from Barcelona, I would also love to have Odegaard from Arsenal, and then sign for me maybe Wilfried Zaha, it's going to be totally different. It's going to be chaotic, right? Because Chelsea now have to get rid of an edge of players that they signed recently, but also those players that are no longer in contention to play for Chelsea, including the likes of N'Golo Conte. I think there's so many players. Eduardo Mendy or Kepa, one of them has to leave. To be honest, Marco Kurela could be one of those out of the door. Kalidou Koulibaly, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and so many others, right? And then after that, if you bring in a new manager, it means you have to ship out some of these players on long-term contracts, including the likes of Noni Madueke, Mikhailo Modric. They've come in on very, very high transfer fees and very high wages for a very long period of time. So Chelsea, it's either a gamble that works or a gamble that doesn't work. But Graham Potter is here to stay. See you soon.